My next movie, Fall Line, was made in 1976 with the assistance of the Australian Film Commission. This movie really was a passion of mine. I really was trying to show that there was a common bond between the activities of surfing and, in those days, skiing, because this was pre the actual event or pre the evolution of the snowboard. So really what we had was two activities that were absolutely joined together, surfing and skiing. And what we do in this movie is we use the fall line as the common bond. What is the fall line? The fall line is the fastest actual way from the top of a slope to the bottom. And what you have to do is use your curves or your turns to either slow down or speed up on that fall line. So this was something that hadn't really been shown to anybody up till that point on film. Most people that got to a high level in these activities already understood it, and they also understood that the similarities were even strong between these sports. Hang gliding was another activity that came along which had another similarity, but it had a twist to it. So you'll see in the movie what the twist really is. But with surfing and skiing, the absolute bond is really, really strong. And that breathing is the important thing. The fact that every time you're turning either a snowboard or a ski or a surfboard, you have to be breathing out, because that gets you a low center of gravity, and then you're breathing in coming out of the turn. So really that's what this movie is about, the similarity between surfing and skiing, and the similarity in feeling and the aesthetics in walking across sort of things like crunching snow and crunching sand, and all of these great things that I think really forced me to want to do a movie about this particular passion.
Years ago, sport at school was a series of body contact team sports, which didn't turn me on a whole lot. I was looking for something I could do on my own.
There seems to be more and more kids in the water each summer, and they're not competing against anyone. I guess we're all chasing the same thing, that feeling that you get standing on a piece of foam and fiberglass, riding one of the Earth's greatest forces, the ocean. I don't think anyone can tell you what that feeling really is. It just seems you've got to get out there and do it. But that feeling has kept me at it for just on 20 years. It's taken me to the World Championships and to all the beaches in the world. And it feels like I've just begun. After winning and losing lots of times, it seems like the fun goes out of competition. And then you finally learn to compete against yourself. The better you get, the better it feels, and there's no better place to get that feeling than in Hawaii. the southernmost tip of Australia is some of the wildest coasts, the wildest people, and some of the finest waves in the world. This area was settled around the time the great clipper ships were just trying to cut time off the route from London to Melbourne. So many ships were sunk in that area that every beach is named after a wreck. These waves roll uninterrupted out of the roaring 40s from Antarctica, and Wayne Lynch was born in that area and has rarely left. The first time I can remember Wayne was a skinny kid surfing Lorne Point. The school in Lorne overlooks that point, and it seems that Wayne used to turn up to class with a letter from his mother explaining some sort of sickness. But you see, the kids, as well as the teacher, have been watching Wayne surf Lorne Point for a couple of hours out the classroom window. Wayne has developed a reputation as a loner, and I asked him if that was deliberate or if it was something that had just happened.
I think it's something that's just happened mainly because I live in such an out-of-the-way area. You know, it's quite desolate down there. And I prefer it that way. I'm never sort of seen it every contest, or I'm not in the media that much.
For me, Wayne is the finest surfer in the world. He may not do as many tricks as some, but he uses the fall line like no one else. Carving turns across it to either slow down or speed up, but never leaving the critical point of the wave's energy. And that's not something you can learn in books. It's instinct, and it takes lots of hard work. When you get that good, there's nothing between you and the forces of nature. And for me, that's what sport's always been about. I asked Wayne if his style was only suited to the waves of Victoria.
No, I think it's a style that can be used anywhere, especially down there. The waves, there's a big range of waves, you know, like I ride everything you could imagine, every type of surf, backhand, forehand, particularly right-handers, you know. Right where I live, it all goes right, which is on my backhand, which is quite difficult.
Do you remember that wave in France in '69, Wayne?
Yes, that was one of the first real tubes I think I ever had.
Just think about all the times like Bali when you've been hurt.
Well, you know, it's not too bad. There's quite a difference between fear and danger. The danger's always there, and the fear is how your own emotions measure it all.
All the time, baby, gon' fishing too. Fit your life, your sweet wife, gon' catch more fishing you. Many fish bites if you got good bait. Yeah, here's a little tip that I like to relate. Come on, baby, I'm a gon' fishing. Yes, I'm gon' fishing, and the baby gon' fishing too. Fishing hole, now I got myself a pole of life. Caught 9 pound catfish on the bottom, came and got a 9 ticket on the mama about supper time. Many fish bites if you got good bait. Yeah, here's a little tip that I like to relay. Come on, mama, oh mama, am I'm a going fishing. Yes, I'm going fishing, and the baby going fishing too. Put him in the pop, baby, put him in the pan, mama, cook him till it's nice and brown. Get yourself a batch of buttermilk, cook a beer, put this sucker on the table, mama, you chopping on down. Say many fish bites if you got good bait. Here's a little tip that I like to relate. Come on, mama, oh mama, am I'm going fishing. Yes, I'm going fishing, and the baby going fishing too. Bet you going fishing all the time, yeah, baby going fishing too. It's your life, your sweet wife, going catch, going fishing.
What makes you want to ski instead of working in a bank?
Well, I really enjoy the freedom, calling my own shots, doing what I want to do, being able to, I enjoy training. It's not work for me. I love being out on the hill. I love skiing. I love practicing.
How about danger?
Well, danger is a very prominent factor in freestyle skiing, not so much in the ballet or the moguls as much as the aerials. And that's what makes aerials the most exciting event of the three freestyle disciplines. Because when you're standing up at the top of the jump, you're looking down, you know you're going to have to do something where you could endanger yourself, could hurt yourself. And when you look up the hill, you can observe all the competitors looking down at the jump, feeling pretty much the same thing that you know you're feeling too.
How about the mountain?
Well, the mountain is always something I look up to. Usually, last winter I visited a lot of different ski areas, and I've skied quite a few ski areas, and every time I come to a new area, I get a special sensation. It's a new mountain to be conquered, a new mountain to be tried. When you get to know a mountain really well, you tend to go to one particular spot on the mountain and ski that over and over again. But there's something about coming onto a new area and you see it from the bottom and you read the trail map, and then you go up there and you actually experience the whole thing.
Waking up to a clear day and just going out and doing it is what it's all about. I guess it's pretty obvious why I like the single ski. It looks a lot like a surfboard, but acts like the traditional skis, except that in slush or powder, it feels a lot easier. The single ski was developed by Mike Doyle, who took his years of experience as a champion surfer and applied them to skiing. Randy thinks it's pretty weird, but for a surfer, it's just a thing. Randy had a hard time retaining his third Australian title against America's Tracy Kessel in this year's freestyle circuit. Competition is a relevant part of all these sports, and professional competition means big money for doing your sport well. My approach to ski slopes is pretty strange, I guess. To me, they're the same as waves. I find myself constantly looking for the most critical sections and carving the deepest, most powerful turns that I can. Surfing to me is a better form of art because your tracks are completely wiped out.
You felt great, you looked great, and then you look up and there they are, just all zigzag.
I wasn't the only one looking around for new experiences. My old rival, Midget Farrelly, had found something else. When I saw Midget, I decided that I wanted to ride the most fickle and dangerous of all elements, the air. Learning to hang glide was really a trip. Snow and water are much more forgiving, but one mistake in the air and it could be your last. I figured I'd need some help, and I got it from one of the best, Glenn Woodward. But even with Glenn around, my first flight was a pretty hair-raising experience. No matter how much you've been told about hang gliding, jumping straight off a cliff isn't the easiest thing to do. But once you have and you're out there, the first thing that hits you is that man can fly, and not just fly, but stay up there as long as you want, turning and soaring just like a bird. The catch is that you've got to ride the wind blowing up the cliff face, and it can take you up hundreds of feet. On your first flight, it seems like a pretty strange place to be. But soon I discovered that turning a kite was just like turning a surfboard. Glenn, how did you get into hang gliding?
Well, I read about it initially. I'd never seen it before, and I read about it in a magazine from the States, and didn't have any kites available out here at the time, so I built my first one, and just started gliding on sandhills, just started teaching myself, and I thought that was a bit of a buzz. At that stage, I didn't realise you could maintain height or even gain height, so I was quite content just to glide down these sandhills for 6 months, a year, having a ball. And then, you know, gradually I got higher and higher and steeper cliffs, and I figured out that you could start soaring and maintaining height. So that was a whole new field. You know? So it just kept developing from there.
You think that's better than working in a bank?
Well, it's apart from being, you know, a physical thing, a physical exercise, it's also a mental stimulant, I think. You know, it keeps your mind clear. It gives you something to exercise more than your body on, and it just seems to be a part of you, you know. Whereas I don't think working in a bank can ever be really part of anyone. You know? But flying, I think, is I think flying's in everyone. You know, everyone dreams of flying. You know, little kids do, and old people do, and you know, you see kids jumping off roofs with umbrellas and sheets and things, and it's just a part of that. You know, it just seems to be part of me, and. It's just part of me.
What part does danger play in it?
I don't think danger has any fascination for me at all. Danger is something I think you overcome with experience. You know, the more experience you get in a sport, any sport, the more you can overcome danger. The danger's always there because there's so many unknowns, things that you haven't got control over. You know, turbulence, you've got no control over turbulence. And you've just got to eliminate the risks, you know, through experience, through what you know. And the more you fly, the more experience you get, and the more of that danger you eliminate. You know, I don't live for the danger, I don't fly for the danger, but it is always there.
More than any other sport?
Well, I think hang gliding is probably, I can relate it to driving a car, you know. Hang gliding is probably as dangerous as driving a car, if you learn properly. And you do it properly, you know, you practice, you're taught, the proper techniques, then it's safe. And if you know when to say no, I'm not going to fly it, it's quite safe. But it becomes dangerous, and you're at risk when you start flying places and sights above your ability, you know, that you're not ready for.
Glenn really helped out by staying right by my side on my first few flights.
Hey Nat, do you read me?
Yeah, Glenn, I can hear you. It's working really well. After 2 glides straight to the beach, Glenn pointed out that my first soar would be a whole lot different. Surfing, skiing and hang gliding are all highly sensual experiences with much in common. Taking off. Body movements.
disparity that I see is in the mediums. I mean, I don't see any real difference in air or snow or water, for that matter. I think it's a matter of, if you have the understanding in one medium, you adjust to another medium. Whatever medium it is, you're actually carving a line through it.
Nice and quiet. Your equipment's a part of you. I guess it must be the same with the kite. You know, something's not going chug, 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 chug in the background. You just
Reduces all those external
surfing. You've just got the noise of the waves and the noise, I guess, the surfboard makes when you cut into one or something.
The whole thing is you're dealing with raw natural energy, and this is your means of propulsion. And as far as touching on your environment, it's the perfect involvement, because you don't hinder or interfere with your environment in the slightest.
Yeah, that's true, but that's not why we do it. We do it because we just want to have fun.
All good surfing and skiing is done from the legs on down.
Moguls is the ultimate test of a skier's ability where the conditions are the toughest. Because of this, you have to be right on your skis all the time. By that I mean you have to stay over your skis, you have to keep the skis under control, more or less on the snow, unless you plan to go for air. In the moguls, when there's a hole, you extend your legs to keep your skis on the snow. And when you have a bump, well, then you suck it up or lift up your legs, so you're always staying on the snow all the time.
The important thing is staying loose. Fall line with all these sports is constant. There is a fall line on a wave, the same as there's a fall line on every mountain.
Yeah.
And if you follow that floor line, that's where you get most of your height over the ground.
When you were slowing down, Glenn, you were actually breaking your speed on that fall line by making your turns go further around.
If you're moving across the face, the slope is not as steep in the line you're going.
It's just the same thing. If you want to keep speed going, if you want to go faster, you know, the fastest way is a straight line, so you stay right in the fall line.
We've been on this planet about 2 million years. Technology has been with us for only 100 years or so, making our lives easier on the one hand, and threatening our very existence on the other. But it's only now we're beginning to use technology for fun. It's amazing to think of what the future might be. But whatever it is, more and more kids are getting ready. One thing we can be sure of is that all these sports are blending together. Baronano de Rosny, inventor of the speed sail, states his criteria of a future sport.
First, a sport that is easy to do. Second, a sport in which the elements which you're doing with, you can transport easily. Third, a sport which you have to do by yourself. Fourth, a sport that you have to do with natural elements. And the fifth reason is a sport that won't disturb other people.
Glenn made this easy riser from a kit and it worked really well. But when the motor was fitted, the locals complained bitterly about the flying lawnmower. Round about this time, it wasn't unusual to be sitting on your surfboard waiting for a wave and have the easy riser come screaming at you out of a swell. I really got off on the winter stick. For me, it brought it all together. Now I could surf down a mountain. It's not as easy as it looks. The winter stick's inventor, Dmitry Midovich, shows how it's really done.
I never worry about hurting myself while I'm skiing. Afterwards, or maybe before, I'm a little apprehensive about doing something, but I never worry about hurting myself whilst I'm skiing. Perhaps if you didn't enjoy skiing quite as much as I do, or you do, for instance, people tend to worry more.
The greatest thing about fear, about being afraid, is being able to conquer it. You know, taking off on a big wave, jumping off a mountain. You've got that initial fear in you, and sometimes it's, you know, it can be an enormous fear, but just conquering it is just what's so great about the whole thing.
Big waves are terrifying natural forces, but we build equipment to get close to them. After you have had contact with these forces, you push yourself closer. Testing your equipment and skills until you learn to ride the fine line between wipeout and ecstasy. "2,000 years ago, man stood on the land and dreamt of riding the forces of nature. Today, those experiences are within our reach. We can be like the dolphins of the sea or the birds of the air. Experiencing sensations that were never possible before the age of technology.